I wanted to make a game review and introduction to this game called Heroes Never Die. This is a pretty new game, at least to iOS. It's only been released about a month ago to the iOS system. I think it came out on Android a little ways before that, but is fairly new to the iPad, iPhone range of games. So there's a couple of things that are really great about this game, and I'm surprised because it receives very little attention. I hadn't heard of it until recently, and it's really a fun game, very well made. If anyone is familiar with the Orcs Must Die kind of games, there's an Orcs Must Die game that's very popular as a computer game, and this is basically a clone. It doesn't appear to be made by the same company, although there may be some affiliation there that I'm not aware of, but it's a very similar game. A lot of fun to play, and we'll take a few minutes to go through it here. So you can play any one of these three characters that you'll see here kind of in the middle right, and basically you're fighting against hordes of various kinds of ogres and crazy monster things. There's actually a list of all the different types of monsters that you're going to come up against. There's some I haven't unlocked here. You can see I'm level 22. I've been playing this for a couple weeks now. I wanted to get some experience before making a recommendation and talking about it, but it is a lot of fun. I've chosen this character. If you go up here, you can change to any one of the three. There's the Arcane Archer, Ancient Barbarian, or this Fire Master. You actually can't unlock the Fire Master until after you've played 3 days with one of the other two characters. But in classic form, I've mentioned before, I really like playing the glass cannon type characters in these kind of games, and the Fire Master is the most like that type of character. So very high attack, very low survivability, and the fun part for me then is you can do a lot of damage and try to use your skill to stay alive. So that part's great. Kind of acts the way you'd expect it to, and you get your kind of three core classes: your rogue, archer, barbarian, warrior type, and then your mage. So that part's all common. Now there's your hero. You can upgrade their equipment, and you get a whole bunch of equipment you can then use to feed in and upgrade theirs and get new stuff. You've got 4 core skills for each one of these characters. Here are the skills for this character here, and you upgrade those as well. And then traps. This is kind of a combination, the same way Orcs Must Die is, where you've got a hero and then some form of traps and towers that you use to defend kind of a portal that you don't want these waves and waves of orcs to get into. And we'll show some more of the gameplay. And they've added on that a bit as well, in that there are bosses that you can fight. We'll show, here's one of the bosses here, and then a much harder boss that's next right up here. I've only gone to those first 2. We've got some others coming that I haven't reached yet, but a lot of fun and a unique challenge on those. Let's do some of the gameplay. We'll go back a little bit. So they've got kind of these maps that you work through. Again, this is, I think, familiar to a lot of people. Let's go. We'll just pick a random one here. Yeah, this will work. Okay, so you're going to go through here. You start off at the beginning of the level. You get your character, you're going to run around, you get kind of 2 minutes to start off if you want to lay out any traps or towers, so you can kind of get a good feel for the layout and work your way through there. I'm going to put out, this is the interface where you can interchange. You have 4 kind of in a quick tab down at the bottom, 4 traps or towers that are down here, and then you can switch them out, and when you switch them out it pauses the game, so that's nice. There's no concern for speed. I'm going to put a few of these towers out on both sides. We've got a nice lineup. The nice thing with this game, some of the tower defense games, they make an unlimited number of spots basically for towers, and it just becomes a game of putting on tons and tons of towers, and that can get kind of boring. Here, usually it's fairly limited. There's only, even having this many, having like 7 in a row is uncommon. So a lot of it, I would say probably even maybe 70% of the game is using your hero, upgrading your hero skills and being competent with with your skill, running around trying to keep your hero alive and dealing out as much damage as you can. And probably only more like 30 or 40% is actually choosing the right towers and playing that way. So it does provide a good mix, and I think having it dependent more on the hero keeps it more of an active game. So you're not just sitting back and watching your towers and watching guys go by. You've got to actually interact and do something skillful that keeps the game fun and interesting. So even this part is a lot of fun. You also get the ability to gain equipment through these. Similarly, I've done a lot of videos for Dungeon Boss, and there's a lot of farming in that game as you continue going, and there's some of that in this as well. If you know the replay on older levels, you can do that so that you continue to bring in new equipment and level up some of your traps. All of your traps can be leveled up to higher levels, kind of like an experience system where you'll get some puzzle pieces that would go towards leveling them up, and you build those up through doing some of these levels over again. So you get kind of a combination effect. You're growing your hero, and you're also leveling up your defenses as well. In order to mix it up, they've made some levels, usually there's at least one per kind of world map that's entirely your hero, and then another one that's going to be entirely your towers. So just mixing it up, keeping it interesting. We'll use her kind of ultimate skill here, back up, and she's got to kind of save up for it, and then does this massive destruction. I didn't put out too many towers. I've actually got a lot of, I guess, gold or energy that I could use to put out some more of these. Trying to just keep them going. This is not the highest level I could be doing right now, so it's not nearly as challenging. But there's still a lot of fun stuff you can put out. Some of these different types of traps, and even now, getting up to about level 20, there are still about twice as many traps and towers as I have currently unlocked are still available. So there's a lot of gameplay here that you can do. Another one of the big benefits, and I talked about this with another game I was reviewing, is that you don't need to be online. You don't need to have internet access to be playing the game. And I think that's a big benefit for a game. So there are aspects that you need it for, but in general there's large portions of the game that you can play, like these levels, where you don't need it. And that's just nice, because if you're traveling or something else, that really limits the amount of stuff you can do. If you're going to be in a car all day, most of the time you're not going to have access to internet, or you're going to drain through whatever capacity you have. You want to spend your time playing something that's not eating through all of your data. So this is a good one for that as well. They've created kind of an energy system, so it costs some amount of energy. It's actually like hearts or something. You've got 60 of them, and it might take 8 to 12 to do a level. And so that's kind of a natural game limiting or progress limiting feature that they've built in. Generally, that's a good thing for these type of games to have. You really don't want everybody rushing through them too quickly. But at the same time, they've made it so that as you go through, after you kill a certain amount of each type of enemy, then you can get some bonuses added on, basically free energy to go and do more levels again. And that helps out so that you can have, fairly long play times, and you can save those up to use them when you want. And I'll show that as soon as this level's over, and it's almost over here. I think I've got 2 more to go through. Put up a taunting tower here, so he'll focus on the taunting tower while I focus on him. He's got a couple of those chests we just got. So a lot of these larger enemies, or the larger scale kind of end of the level enemies, will drop some chests, and that's where you'll get most of your loot from. So a lot of it comes at that time. Alright, so that was a level. Like I said, a lot of fun working your way through this. There's a normal mode. This one I believe was in normal mode, and then an elite mode for every one of the dungeons. And normal mode will give you one set of loot, and elite mode obviously gives you a better set of loot that you can go through. So here, this is what I was talking about, that same list of monsters. You see the exclamation points on some of these, and that means that I can collect this reward at any time. I've met some metric. I've killed this guy over 100 times, so I can collect this any time, and that's going to give me some items. So this one is, let's go back real quick. It's giving me one piece of this beast trap, so I already have that trap. That means I'll be able to upgrade it when I get to a certain number of pieces. But also, it gives me a bunch of this energy. So you can see up at the top with the big heart there, I've got 47 out of 60 energy. And when I work that down to 0, then I wouldn't be able to do any more levels. So I've kind of saved up some of these. You could take them right away and keep playing, but I save them up for when I'm running low on energy, so that I make sure I've got enough I could keep playing for a long time. There might be a chunk of time that I want to be able to do this, or I'm going to be in the car, or I'm going to be doing something else, and so I'll save them up and then use them then, and I could play for hours then. So, and as you played, you'd continue to unlock more of these. Now I need one more kill for this type, and I'd get more energy. So the energy limits game progress, but at the same time, they're giving you the opportunity to do a lot of things to unlock more energy and keep playing. Another thing, I think possibly because this is a newer game to the iOS system, a lot of times when games come out, they're really giving with their in-game currency and other things. Until they get established, they're trying to just get as large of a user base as possible. And that's good for you if you're just coming onto this game. They've given away a lot of this in-game currency, and most things don't actually cost that much. So I did, just today, I did a daily reward, and it gave me 100 diamonds. This is day 7. So only 7 days, that's not a big, it didn't take very long to get there. Day 3 they gave me 50. And you can see, that's about a $10 value I got here, and then a $5 value back on day 3. That's a pretty good amount of in-game currency that they're giving out. And so far, I haven't been limited by in-game currency at all. There are some games that make it really hard to progress without spending a lot of real money. I haven't had to spend any real money. I've progressed really well in the game, and it's been a lot of fun. So, one of the most fun aspects, actually, are the bosses. And they present a lot of challenge. This first one is not too bad. He's relatively straightforward, and they do take a while, otherwise I would make a video for him right now. This one was much more difficult and took me a few times to figure out the best strategy to be able to take this guy out. He has a lot of poison damage, he spreads all around. If you run into it, then it takes out a lot of your health really quickly. So just a lot of things where it brings in that challenge and makes it a lot of fun to play. That's most of what I wanted to say about it. I hope that you guys will find it enjoyable as well. I may end up making some videos on this, especially for the bosses, because they present kind of a unique challenge. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see everyone soon.